Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are exploring the West Ridge Nature Preserve, established in September of 2015. It is roughly 5 p.m. It is a cool, I would say 40 degrees, 45 degrees out, which for me, in my part of the country, Midwesterners, this is tropical weather. So today we are just gonna walk along the trail, give it a little scope. Not much to look at now because it's still cold out, but this in the summer, it's nothing but green and flowers, and it's so pretty. But yes, as I said, established in September 2015, this property has been home for people for hundreds and in some cases thousands of years. This is along the Rosehill Spit, and if anyone knows geography, they would know that a spit is when a body of water recedes and what is left behind is glacial rock or sands, and they build kind of like high grounds, because at one point Chicago was at the bottom of a monstrous lake known as Lake Chicago. And around 13,000 years ago, the American ice caps melted Lake Chicago. First, it rised and then it started receding. It trapped a body of water, which is modern day Lake Michigan, and left behind these spits. Now this one's along the Rosehill Spit, and there's another one called the Graceland Spit. Yes, Spit. I'm sorry. But yeah, so indigenous people of this area used to set up camp along these spits because they were high grounds. So in 2012, before they started turning this into a nature reserve, they did an archeological survey in this area, and they found fragments of arrowheads, knives, ceramics. They also found stuff that they believe is cookware, but they can't pinpoint it. But nonetheless, and they did carbon aging on them, and they found that some of them are hundreds, others are thousands of years old. So this area has been home to people for a long time. It's really beautiful. I grew up in this area right down the street. When I was growing up, this wasn't open to the public. This was just all woods. And in 2011, the Park District bought it it's part of Rosehill Cemetery, which is the most famous cemetery in Chicago. And it's the resting place of a lot of famous Chicago people in history. And so this used to be part of the cemetery. And in 2011, the Park District bought it for about $11 million. From what I understand, though, the lagoon, which will pass, is still owned by Rosehill. But yeah, when I was a younger teenager, we used to come in here, sneak in here, because the gates used to be iron. But nonetheless, so from this point on, I am just going to be quiet. Right beyond those fences, beyond the trees, that's the cemetery. During the warmer months, there's wild deer that run all around here, and you literally will get super, like, right next to them, and they have no fear. You see a little fawn, they're just like Bambi. It's cute. But this place is absolutely lush with greenery and flowers in the summertime. So this splits off, and this walks up to like a high point. As you can see in the distance, headstones. At one point, this was Rosehill Cemetery property. In the summer, I live so close that I come here almost daily and walk around. It's just so beautiful and so peaceful, and I'm so lucky that I live in a city that's held on to a lot of its nature. You know, Chicago, for the most part, whenever we could turn something into a nature preserve or some type of community area that's based around nature, Chicago has a history of doing just that. And this is a prime example of a more recent one. But we have a long history of doing that. And I really am lucky in many aspects. Here's that lookout point. This is the back part. This is the woodland part. Soon, we're going to be walking around the lagoon, which is more open, more sunny. In the summer, there's geese and there's ducks everywhere. And this is like a hidden gem. Not many tourists come here because it's just so far north. We are way up north in Westridge, which is in the wider West Rogers Park area, which is far, far north. About 2 miles from here, 3 miles, is we're on the border of Evanston and Chicago. This area has been pretty much barren until the turn of the 19th century, until 1900 or so, when they started building Devon over this way, so from north to south. But here we go, we're going. There used to be a water tower back here, and it said Rosehill. It was a big gray wooden water tower, and I remember just as a kid, and it got tore down when they opened this, but I tried to get history on it and I could not find any history about it. And I do research for a living. That's what I do. I'm a researcher. And I couldn't find any history besides, you know, a little here and there from the 1920s and stuff. But they tried to save it, but it was in such disrepair that they just couldn't. I'll do another video when it's nicer out with all this greenery. I mean, you can't even see. It's just so lush. All this is completely covered. Someone left roses. Right up here is a little kids park, and it's all stuff. Everything in this little park, all the wood comes from the wood around in the surrounding area. Like all the wood comes from fallen wood, fallen trees from the woodlands back here, which is pretty cool. But as we pass, I'm not going to film because it's not good to film children, you know, without the parents' consent or without the child's consent. And also, it's kind of weird. So I'm just going to turn this way. But right over here, as you can see, little park, but I'm going to turn this way. Go over here. That's the back view. Look at that pretty sun just shining through. So we're coming up to the lagoon, the little pond lagoon area. To see part of the cemetery. You'll see the cemetery along this part of the walk. Such a beautiful day out. Oh look. Oh look, you could even see the ducks. They're in the water. Can you see them? You can see them moving. You can see some resting. And here we go by the lagoon. They have little like pathways off of this trail that you could go right by the water. So we'll do that. So what they do at the end of the season, they burn the grass. I noticed that. As you could see, they chop it and they burn it. And that creates much fertilizer. But here we are. Go this way. It's a little muddy. I should have worn better shoes, but whatever. You can see the ducks too. And here's another one right up here. Right up here. It's just hard to believe that right outside, right across the street, right outside there, it's like Western Avenue, which is the busiest street in all of Chicago. It's actually the longest street. It runs literally all the way from one side of the city all the way to the next, from all the way from far north all the way to far south. It is what I like to call the backbone of Chicago. You could get anywhere in the city by using Western. Do you want to do that route all the time? Absolutely not, because Western sucks. It's notorious for traffic. Let's see. So let's go back. Spring is almost here. We're already in March. Just, what is it, like 18, 17 more days? And then it's officially the spring equinox. That's the cemetery. You can see all the ducks. The geese aren't out yet. You could see turtles too. Look. Right in that log. So they have ducks, geese, wild deer, fawn. They have red ear sliders, which are native to Midwest, native to Illinois, I believe. I actually have one as a pet, and her name is Binks. Look at that beautiful, the sun just shining through. So the wooded area we went in before, that was the deepest of this part. This is the second deepest. But we're gonna be coming back along the road, going towards the entrance again. Show you one of my favorite spots in the summer. I like to come over here, sit, meditate, watch the ducks and the turtles. And in the summer, believe it or not, there's so much like shrubs and flowers and stuff that it actually kind of blocks off the entrance. So sometimes I can't find the entrance. But here it is. It looks so obvious now, but in the summer, all this is full. And the trail becomes like a third its size. But right here is where I like to sit and just people watch. Right there is Western Avenue. And then this is really pretty in the summer. You see all these little things sticking out there. All this is wildflowers. All of this is all wildflowers. So when you walk through here, it's nothing but wildflowers, and you get all these butterflies everywhere, and it's so surreal. This is a butterfly sanctuary, this area. It's a lot of unique birds. This is a great place for bird sighting. So you can see as I say that, it'll turn over and there's the birdhouse, but starting to cool down. I mean, Chicago, it's what, 40, probably like 38 degrees now, but for me, this isn't that cold. Like, I'm cold, but I'm not freezing, and all I'm wearing is a blazer and nothing else. To us, this is a beautiful day. To someone who's from like California or the South and warmer climates, you would be shivering right now. But I love summer. I love summer in Chicago. And this summer, I have so many videos planned for this channel. And so you guys, please subscribe. Please subscribe if you haven't. And I'm gonna be exploring different neighborhoods day and night. I'm going to different attractions. I'm gonna give you guys a view of Chicago that a lot of videos on YouTube do not have. As a native, I know where the cool stuff is. Well, not all of it, but some of it. So, this is a little pier. In the summer, people come up here and fish. Fishing is allowed with a fishing license, of course. We're coming up to the end. There's the cars, as you see. If you want to come and visit, if you're wondering if they have facilities, not per se, but they have a porta potty that they actually do keep pretty clean. So if you come to visit, you don't have to worry about finding a place to, use the restroom. As I said, this isn't very touristy, but it's a cool place to check out if you're so happen to be in the area for something else more important. But mainly, this is a neighborhood gem. This is where people in the neighborhood go. And quite often in the summer, I go around the same time right after I get off work, and I see the same people walking. You see the grass growing. Spring is coming. Look, you can see the bloom. One last good view of the lagoon. So guys, we're coming up to the end of the trail. Thanks again for being here. And this is the first time I've been here since the end of last summer. So thanks for coming along with me, and I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you haven't, please subscribe. That would be awesome. And I have lots of videos planned, like I said, and this is a very cool place. It's a cool area to grow up in. I moved out when I was 18. I just recently moved back in this little area. Anyone who grew up here will tell you that this area is kind of like a small town in the big city. You always run into people you grew up with, all that kind of stuff. But okay, guys. Well, thanks again for being here. And I hope you enjoyed. And have a great day. One last thing. Okay, guys. Have a good night. Bye.